Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Show, a show where we talk about the development, design, and business of building great digital products. Joining me is my co founder and co host, Mac.
Hey,
Hey, Mac. In this episode, we're going to be talking about balancing time and procrastinating. So, Mac, what is procrastinating and why do we see it happen so often around us?
so I think procrastinating is definitely not being able to prioritize your tasks and keep on shuffling between multiple things, and at the end of the day, you don't have anything productive at all. What's it for you?
I want to answer this question in another way by like procrastinative working is not the idea that you are a software developer and your job is to basically write code in Java, but you actually end up most of your time spending in writing code in C++. That is still productive work, but it's just something for you to understand that you should go get a job as a C++ developer, right? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about prioritizing in the sense of understanding how to balance time doing better at what you do.
I see, makes sense, right?
Okay, all right. Why is it so difficult? Why is prioritizing so difficult?
So, so I think primarily for people like us who are sitting in front of a computer all day long, the problem is that with computers, everything is truly a click away. It's like a kitchen knife, right? Can be used to sustain life or take it.
Yeah.
So like there's this ocean of distractions, and wading through it and actually getting something productive done has become a challenge. I don't even mean like social media or non-work stuff, right? It could be just emails or Slack messages. The cost of taking like 5 minutes out to respond to an email is actually much more, since the effect of context switching keeps compounding, and you'll end up ignoring like really important tasks or rushing through them at the 11th hour, since all you ended up doing is the arbitrary task that kept coming up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think in the similar lines, because nowadays people are a part of like 100 WhatsApp groups. Everyone subscribes to like 50 newsletters, and the minute you start your day, all these things are trying to grab your attention. And social media is just a completely different ball game. Um, these things are just so easily available and just a tap away, and this kind of easiness makes it difficult for you to, in general, focus.
So, so then let me ask you this, right? So I completely agree with what you're saying. Let me ask you this: why is it so important to have a routine or schedule, right? And what's your routine? What helps you stay on course?
Well, for me, you just have to force yourself to be into a routine and try and avoid all of these things. And I know it's easier said than done, but it's just something that you have to force yourself to do. Having a fixed routine, just making sure that you have certain deliverables and commitments to meet, is like the ideal way to do it. Because if you know that there are certain people waiting for you for an answer to something, and if you don't deliver at that point in time, those guys are gonna have it's gonna have a domino effect. um, just making sure that you have those timelines to meet and time boxing it helps. At least for me, that helps. What about you?
I mean, for me, right, I think it sounds super Instagrammy, but there's nothing, literally nothing as important as your time, and how we will use it will eventually determine how we get to use it, right? So the ability to understand what requires your attention at what point, it's a skill, and it requires constant honing. So having a routine allows you to do this. Let me give you an example, right? So I'm not available to answer questions all day or through the entire day. In the 10 minutes before I go to lunch, I'll respond to all of the questions that I got in the first half of the day. I don't always reply to my emails when I wake up first thing or as soon as I get them, right? 30 minutes before I go to bed, I'll go through and reply to all of my emails. For all of the questions that I get in the second half, I reply by between 5:30 to 6, and this allows me to dedicate the rest of my day uninterrupted to the set of tasks that I have planned for the day, and that will provide exponential value to the business.
Yeah, makes sense. And one of the things that I've in terms of my routine, what I do is I kind of start my day with making a list. I'm a listy person. So I make a list, and what I've generally found is that I always start adding the tasks that come like the most naturally to me, the ones that are the easiest to do, the ones that are the easiest to mark as check, it's done. Um, but then what I do is I invert the list. So let's say I start my day by saying, "Oh, I need to do these, couple of operations things, and then there's a couple of much more difficult, time-consuming things." I'm gonna invert it because I know that the ones that I'm trying to shy away from are the ones that are gonna add more value to me and everyone else that I work with. So just inverting this list has helped me a lot.
I see. I think, yeah, because they're naturally inclined to do things that are easier, and you probably feel more accomplished because they're smaller tasks, easier to do, and then the more difficult tasks, they just snowball into something much larger.
Yeah. So are you using any productivity hacks, apps that you use?
So I follow the 525 rule. So every morning I make a list of like 25 things, uh, prioritized, right? So then I have like five tasks out of those, the first five that I need to get done today, right? And accomplishing that is going to provide exponential value. So I must make sure that I do that. So I completely ignore the other 20. So I just don't even look at those until I've finished all five. So I just make like my reason for living for that particular day is completing those five tasks. So I mean, like as a team lead, as a manager, as a business owner, it's not, you don't just need to care about yourself, right? You also need to care about the productivity of your team, right? So how are you inspiring them to be better, to do better?
I just be the example. Um, if you are valuing your time more, right, by making sure that meetings are time boxed, um, by sort of delivering on your commitments, things naturally sort of tend to fall in place. Um, by nature, I'm not really a micromanager. I don't really ask people every day if something's done or not. Um, Everyone understands what needs to be done. If I do my work on time, I've realized that people sort of tend to follow.
Yeah, so leading by example. Yeah. So I definitely think that's something that will work. And of course, leading by example is proven, right? Another thing that I think would really help, right, is normalizing timeout. So that's what I do. I make sure that I take sufficient timeouts so that everybody else in the team knows that taking timeouts is only normal. So if you need some time out, all you need to do is ask. And I hate it when people say things like, "Oh, I'll do it over the weekend." No, do it on Monday, but do it well. So procrastinating working is usually what happens when you'd rather do something else at that time, right, than the task at hand. And obviously, on the weekend or after work hours, you want to do something else. You should do something else, right? So staying clear from overworking, normalizing timeouts, and having a culture where people can openly push back on timelines if they think they're unreasonable are some of the things that have helped me personally.
That sounds nice. That sounds like a differentiator you've got on your hands there. I'm gonna geek out now. So, do you use any specific apps that help you, like in your day to day?
So yeah, I use this thing called TickTick. It integrates really well with Mac OS, and it's just a button click, and you have all of your tasks that you need. So I use that to basically check out stuff that I've already done and to add new stuff that I need to do. So in the beginning of the day, that's my go-to tool. What about you? Do you have anything that you use?
I'm a big fan of TickTick. It's just so simple, and the fact that it's available in the nav bar on the Mac OS. And another really nice thing that I like about it is that when I add something and I say that, deliver this on Friday, it'll sort of understand that Friday is a day and it'll keep reminding me, which is like pretty amazing because all I need to do is keep adding text to it and it sort of like understands my thoughts and like forces me to do things, which is great. One more thing that I've seen people use a lot is this sort of Chrome plugin called One Tab, and what it does is every time you open a new tab, it'll close the previous one. So you're always focusing on one tab. Um, I'm not sure if it's gonna work for me, but I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
I'm like 100% sure it's not going to work for me. But another thing that I've done, right? I didn't know that TikTok does this, where when you write in Friday, it'll like create a reminder. So I used to actually create a Google Calendar event. So let's say that I've got a really important product launch at 5 p.m., right? By 4 p.m., everything should be ready. So I set a reminder or I set an event for 4 p.m. that day. So me and the entire team knows that, 5 o'clock, we got a launch, right? So we need to make sure that our act is in order by at least 4. So any such time bound things, I usually set a calendar event, invite our other team members, so everybody is sort of in the loop, and we don't have any last minute things that are sort of out of our control.
Makes sense. Right, I think we're running out of time. We're already crossed 10 minutes, which is usually our time box. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We're gonna keep coming up with new podcasts now and then. I know it's been a long time since the last one, but we'll try to be more, on time and on schedule. So this one's all about productivity, but the next one might be about something completely different. We don't know. If you have any suggestions, let us know. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to you following us. Um, See ya.
See you. Bye bye. Until next time.